Hey, what's good today? I want to jump in here and show you how to build your own custom snare rack for Ableton Live. And yeah, let's begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I found a bunch of samples already ahead of time, and I just want to walk you through the type of sample you're looking for to start building your rack. So to begin with, you need a low kind of tonal element for the lowest part of your snare, and it's going to sound something like this. Now, this is a full range snare, but inside of there's a tonal element that we're going to pull out. Next, you need some kind of a mid tone to it. So there's mid information. There's also high information there, but we're going to be filtering stuff. This sample is something that's very, very wide. And if you want to check that a sample is wide, you can use Ozone's free plugin here. Their imager plugin, and this will just give you a sense of how wide something is. So it's actually not as wide as I thought, but anyways, it sounds very wide. I'm not sure why it's not coming wide on the vector scope. All right, and then some kind of a transient that we can use. In this case, I'm going to use a cross stick and some more color or another tonal element. All right. So for building the snare, we're just going to open up MIDI track. We're going to loop it, and then we're going to begin building our rack. Okay, and if you didn't know, we're going to be using Simpler, and for Simpler to play back a sample at the pitch that it was created at, you have to make your MIDI note on C3. So we're going to make 2 MIDI notes on C3 on the backbeat, and away we go. All right. First step that we're going to want to do here to build this rack is get an instrument rack onto this track, and then we're going to put in simplers for every single sample that we're going to be using in this. Okay. One check. Okay. So this is going to be our main low element. So we're going to drag this drop into here. We're going to rename this low. This next one is going to be our mid. This one's going to be our wide. We're going to call this transient. And this is going to be our color one. This might be another low, but we'll call it color for now. Okay, so what we now have is something that sounds like this. Actually not a bad sounding snare, just like that. But we're going to begin and sort everything out with filters. So let's solo just this one. We're going to use a steep cutoff. Okay, and then I don't like the top end of this one. Yeah, there's that tonal element that every snare has. So we're going to leave that like that for now, and then we'll begin to tweak the layers later. This is the mid, I believe. So just again, we're going to filter up to the peak. And then I'm not going to cut this one as tight. Okay, maybe something like that. We're getting rid of the extreme highs. Now for the wide one. This is kind of an unusual sample, so this needs a little extra tweaking. If I remember right. Sweep for resonance frequencies. Dial them out. I believe there's another one in here. I used this before. Okay, we're gonna leave that something like this. Now for the transient. This is more just to make sure there's nothing in the way, so we're gonna cut up pretty high. Yeah, something like that. And then this is my color one, I think. This might have been my mid, actually. Yeah. Yeah, that's a better mid. Let's switch this around. I think this was supposed to be the high. Yeah. Okay, so now what we have all together. Something like this, all separated out by frequencies. And then the one thing we want to do is just tweak this high one to the attack of it to start a little bit later. So, not that much. Because technically in a snare, the tonal element happens first and then the snare sound. Something like that should be good. Okay. Feels like it needs a bit more lows. Maybe 1 dB. Let's add a bit more highs. A lot more of this is going to get pulled out with the saturation, so we're not going to add too much. Let's just add a dB too. And then the wide, usually don't need a lot of it. Maybe something like that. And the transient. This is just a little bit of color for the front end. All right. Now, what you can do is to enhance it even more is toss on a synthesizer. In my case, I'm going to use silent, but any synthesizer is going to work that you can just dial in for just noise. So I'm just going to pull up silent here. Okay, now that we got silence on there, we got stuff happening. Just gonna turn this to noise only. And then school as that is, we just need a short decay. And get rid of ARP. Get rid of the resonance. Just the cutoff here. We want it to not start right away too. Get rid of the delay. Quiet down a bit. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right to me. We might tweak this later again too. And we are also going to EQ it right now. So we want this mostly to be in the upper range. Boosting the high a bit, and then let's pull it down a bit. Just gonna mix it in. Okay, that sounds good to me. Not too much, but you know, just enough in there. All right, so that's the basic setup of all the layers that are important and integral to making a snare drum. And now we can begin to process this further down the line to really amp it up into something you would want to use on an EDM track. So first off, this is just a little kind of random tip, but I like to put a little erosion on the low band here, just to add a little bit of noise right off the bat. We're going to actually add this in at a lower range. Okay, something like that. Okay, now, just like the kick drum, we're going to start with some saturation on this channel. Maybe something like that just to get going. And then we're going to have another saturator later that is going to be soft clipping it. We're going to put it there just so we know what we're doing, because this is kind of our hard limit. It's going to cut it right off. And after that, there's also going to be a limiter. This is kind of standard drum setup for me. Okay, now we can begin actually working with the sample a little more detailed. So we're going to want to EQ again at some point in here. Cut out the lows. As you can see, there's more information back already. So we always want to keep stuff cleaned out. And this is going to be kind of my first tonal shape of this. So I want more of that low tonal element. Usually a little more highs. And minus some mids. A little more scooped. Just a key of that. A little more of this. Okay, that's starting to sound like an actual snare. And then this is going to get fed into a reverb to create a little bit of space for it. Go 100% wet and then dial in the decay. You don't really want it much longer than the actual snare. Something like that. With it. Out it. With it. Noticeable difference. Alright. Now we're going to get into a little bit of compression after the first EQ. And the first thing I like to do here is add a little bit of OTT, but it's going to be a modified OTT preset. So I'm going to put this in here. I actually learned this on a live stream just recently to get rid of the upwards compression, and it kind of takes away the nastiness of OTT. We're going to dial these all the way up, and we're going to dial in the blend. Okay, something like that. And then duplicate this preset again, and we're going to dial up the attack to like 200-ish, a little slower. We're going to back these off. Dial in again. Okay, I like that. Then before these two compressors, I like to have my standard glue preset that I use in almost every snare drum. This right here. And I actually am using the clipping to add a little distortion to the snare drum sound. It has a very fast attack here, or slow attack, so all the attack information is coming through. So we're not wrecking that transient. So the more makeup, the more distortion. Maybe somewhere in there for now. Okay. And then on the other side of this, I also like to use a glue compressor just to package everything together nice and tightly. This is going to be the basic preset, just modified slightly. I'm going to put that on like 10 and 2. And we're just going to drag this down a bit. Now, you'll notice something right away that this is actually clipping, and the glue compressor has a input that it likes, and anything past that it actually doesn't respond as well to and begins to distort the sound. So what we're going to do is add in another EQ that we're going to be using later in front of that. What we're going to do is just pull this down a bit so it's not clipping anymore. Redial in the threshold. Bringing it up as much as we can without it clipping. And then we're going to add in 9 dB with a utility on the other side of that. That's just to get around its input, like what it needs as a good input. And we're back in business. Okay, we're going to reshape this again a bit. I think there's too much compression happening here. Okay, something like that. Now I tend to like a little bit more noise added in. I'm actually going to add it in before the first reverb here. And we're going to add that in kind of a unique way that I learned from Mr. Bill, and that is to use the vocoder. So it actually has its own internal modulator, and that's a noise modulator. And we can use that to blend in just a tad more noise. So if we use less bands here, we don't need a lot of low. The format shapes how it sounds. Something like that, and then dry wet it. Yeah, just a little bit extra noise added to the signal. Okay, it's starting to come together. Just listening for what we need more of. I think we need a little more low. We can try adding it here. Somewhere in there, maybe. And then for a bit of color, I actually EQ with the backs and I'll EQ again, similar to the kick drum. Just going to throw on a little bit of this right there after our last EQ. Sweep through. Too much. Back it off. Really. Somewhere in there. Mid. Same thing. So there's not a lot of low information that this is hitting, so we're going to add that. Alright. Without that, with it. Yeah, just a little more meat. Okay. And now here on the clip, we can actually add a bit of drive in. Something like that sounds good in my ears. Obviously, a lot of this is going to depend on, you know, exactly what you want in your track, but okay, now every little change you make on these EQs is going to sound dramatically different because it's running through all of these effects. So now you can kind of just dial things in just so. I'm suspicious of the resonant frequency. Yeah, maybe we'll try dialing that out. Yep. A little less highs. Let's experiment with this noise. Alright. Now I like to usually drop in an EQ quick just to check for resonant frequencies in my snare. We're going to dial these all off. So one. We're just going to start sweeping through. Okay, and then let's just dial out like 3 dB of it. And again. You're looking for ones that are really long, because those are the ones that are a problem. Clearly there's lots of resonant frequencies. So that one's a bit longer, so we'll get rid of that. That was just by chance, we're also going to get rid of that. So you can keep doing this for quite a while. I'll show you the difference. Yeah. Quite noticeable for such a small change. Now you could after this add a little more reverb in potentially, or you could not, it just depends. And you're also going to want to shape the length of that snare hit just a bit. Hopefully this doesn't crash my computer. We're going to give it a go. Alright, so just like I said, it was going to crash. Basically what you do is you're just going to drop in any kind of sidechain plugin and reverse cut it away. I'll throw up on screen what that shape is going to look like, and you just use it to adjust the tail length of your snare. And with that, that's pretty much it. You're going to want to group this all together in a giant rack. Like so. That's going to be a giant snare creation tool. Now, the one thing I want to point out is, unlike the kick drum where you can kind of tune it to different frequencies, it's a little harder with a snare drum because the relationship of this tonal frequency to all these settings is very important. So as soon as you begin to adjust that frequency, all the settings have to change. So I recommend just staying on a static note. And if you need something different, you're going to have to just build a new rack or adjust everything. The one thing you could do is map together some kind of like sustain length or something to the whole thing to create different length snares, and macro that to a macro over here somewhere. But beyond that, it's about what you do to create your own snare drum rack in Ableton Live. Thank you.